You know that scene in Iron Man where Tony Stark announces they're shutting down the weapons manufacturing, and then Jeff Bridges afterwards goes over and sarcastically says, "Well, that went well." This was the opposite of that.
You are Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Oregon Ducks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, it is that time once again for a reaction episode of Locked On Ducks. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin. Thank you all for making this your first listen or your first view post Oregon's beatdown of Montana State. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and your number one source to stay up to date with the Ducks. This episode brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Yes, indeed, Game Time. If you had been wanting to go to the Montana State game, Game Time would have been the place to go. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Maybe you want to go to the Oklahoma State game next week. Might be fun. Autzen Stadium looked like it was absolutely rocking. I am so happy, not just because Oregon thrashed Montana State 59-13. My apologies to the offense. My score prediction was 38-6. I thought it might take them a while to get on the same page. Nope. There was no let's ease into it. There was no work out the kinks. There was no fourth quarter sweat like Idaho last year. That was just pure unbridled domination. And yeah, it's an FCS opponent. So, how much better could Oregon have looked? Legitimately. They scored on their first drive. I think they scored on, what was it, the first 5 possessions? Let me check the drive chart here real quick. This was just, let's see, Oregon's first few drives. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown. So they weren't stopped. They weren't. Did Oregon really not punt in this game? Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Yeah, no punting for Oregon in the game. 13 points allowed. That was 7 more than I was hoping for. But frankly, I'm not upset at how the defense played whatsoever because this game was out of reach for Montana State in the first quarter. This is what we were all waiting for last year. This was it. I remember my take. One of my insiders out there, Locked On Ducks insiders, that is over. Link is in the description below. Anyway, one of them reminded me of my take after the Idaho game last year, which is what in the Mario Cristobal era was that. This was the exact opposite of that. This was a complete game. This team looked buttoned up. This team was ready to go. There was no slow start. There was hardly any sloppiness. I don't know what else there was to like about this game that you didn't enjoy whilst watching. I mean, Oregon had 3 penalties for 29 yards. Happens, man. One of them was, I think, on Naeem Offord, a PI in the end zone. Okay, true freshman. Happens. It happens. Like, this was as close to a perfect football game as you can play. Is this the toughest opponent Oregon's going to play this season? Nope. Far from it. Definitely far from it. But for them to already be starting at this point is comforting, number one. And number two, encouraging. Because the first few weeks are not going to be, oh my gosh, is this team about to lose all this potential? They look great on paper. Nope. This is what that team is supposed to look like, playing at its best. This was phenomenally good. Phenomenally good in all facets. It's an FCS opponent. It's a great FCS opponent, by the way. Guess what? That's how it should look. That's how it should look. Offense, defense, special teams. Oregon blocked a punt, ran the ball, didn't turn the ball over, wasn't stopped, no punts. Like, this was an ideal game. Luke Moga was out there leading scoring drives. He didn't actually record a passing attempt, which is too bad. But man, so many things to like about the way that this looked. But if you go back and watch, actually I can look at it right now. My thumbnail on YouTube for Friday's show with Jake Butt of the Big Ten Network, who was the color analyst for this game, the caption on the thumbnail was "Trenches Tell All," with a question mark there. Because if Oregon was going to dominate this game, the trenches is where the difference needed to show up. And guess what? It did in both areas. I tell you what. My Amari Washington fan club president, I am chair of the Amari Washington fan club. We're having an updated policy in which we will not speak of him in any light except that of the Heisman Trophy winner. I tell you, that guy, 1.5 tackles for loss, 5 total tackles. The number of players that got into this game, I'll get on that a bit more later. It was really, really fun to see for a number of reasons. But man, the way that the offensive line came out and just set the tone. Davey Uli was running with the ones. There were some surprises on the 2 deep. I don't know if they're all going to last for every single week throughout the season. This definitely had the feel of throw everything at the wall and see what sticks sort of deal. But am I shocked that Davey Uli was a starting guard over Matthew Bedford? No. Bedford's coming off an injury, and Davey Uli's been a good player for the last several years. So, no, wasn't surprised at that. He was moving guys around. Isaiah World was moving guys around. Manuel Prenon, look at the whole offensive line. That O-line gelled wonderfully. Dante Moore had clean pockets the entire day. It was wonderful. But to come out and for that to have been how the game began and just continued throughout was a joy to see. My 2 favorite sequences, I won't say plays. I know what my favorite play of the game was. It wasn't Kenyon Sadiq's hurdle. It wasn't Dakorien Moore's hurdle. I know what my favorite play of the game was. It wasn't Dante Moore's zippy touchdown to Malik Benson, which was beautiful. Just straight up beautiful. No, my favorite sequences were the first drive where Oregon just came out and dominated with the offensive line and went down the field, scored a touchdown. And then my other favorite sequence was Montana State had 3rd and 1 on their first or second drive, and Oregon stuffed them. Why? Because the trenches were there and they were ready to roll, and they looked good. This has been such a point of emphasis for this staff, particularly on the defensive line. And against that opponent, that is how it should look. So everything you could have wanted to see from Oregon going into this game against Montana State. Can you have the takeaway that Oregon's a bona fide national title contender? Nope. We aren't going to know that based on Oregon's 4 opponents before Penn State. We won't know that until Penn State. Oklahoma State's going to have a backup quarterback next week. Northwestern got dog-walked by Tulane. I thought they would, but they did. Oregon State looks horrible against Cal at home. So those games shouldn't be a prop. Now, I predicted Oregon to win all 4 going into the year. So we can only learn so much. But what we do have available to learn, this is an A-plus performance. Last year was the worst win of the Dan Lanning era. This one was the best first game of the Dan Lanning era in all likelihood. Let's see. 2023, well, Portland State, when they set a record with 81 points, that was pretty good too. That was pretty darn good. But this was up there too. To be working in a new quarterback, a new offensive line, and it looked seamless. They looked buttoned up. They looked well coached. They looked disciplined. They looked like they knew where to go, where to be, how to make everything. Everything looked good here. So you have to take it for what it's worth when you're going against an FCS opponent, even one as great as Montana State. Fully admit that. Let's not look past that part of it. But for what this game was, I could not be happier with how the Ducks performed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit me up on Twitter, all of that good stuff. So I'm going to close with Dante Moore and then one of the surprises of the game. But something that was clearly intentional from the staff that poses questions going forward, and they are the best types of questions. First, this episode brought to you by Game Time. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, hope you all enjoyed it at Autzen. The rivalries, we'll have one with Oregon State in a few weeks. The energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I've used Game Time on multiple occasions myself. The process was great. I knew what I was expecting. I didn't get slapped with late fees. I got a great deal. The ticket was delivered right to my phone both times, and then boom. Went to the event, no problems. It was great. Game Time's the way to go. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. If you want to watch Dante Moore play in person, use Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, all one word, for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Let me tell you, I've done a lot of talking today. Southern Utah beat Idaho State, if you're wondering. So that was less a second segment sip, more of a second segment chug of a mini water bottle. So that's where we're at. Okay. Something that stood out. There was clearly, Dante Moore thoughts are coming on the show. Do not worry. Something that was clearly intentional by the staff that is going to be really interesting to monitor over the next couple of games. They were playing, they clearly planned to play a lot of guys. They know how good their roster is and how much talent they have accumulated over the last couple of recruiting cycles. They looked the part in every single area. I mean, the secondary played awesome. The defensive line, led by Amari Washington, is absolutely nasty. But I think there were some notable spots on the two deep or in the starting rotations that were kind of, hey, we're going to give you a shot and see what happens here. Or we're going to play a number of different guys and we're just rotating them in and out here. And to have the confidence going against an elite, even though it's an FCS program, one like Montana State, on the heels of Idaho last year, it's kind of a baller move by Dan Lanning and company, frankly. Because there was clearly a plan to get everybody into the game. Except Mekhi Hughes, who had 1 carry for 2 yards. And I'll start there. I have long assumed, given his profile as a transfer, that Mekhi Hughes is going to be Oregon's starting running back. A few of you tweeted at me as I was puzzled. And when I do that, of course, I tweet my puzzlement, if that's a word, bewilderment, that, wow, we've seen a lot of running backs, haven't seen Mekhi Hughes. A couple of you tweeted at me that someone else, I think George Reister maybe, had reported that Noah Whittington won the job in fall camp. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe they're just resting Mekhi Hughes for next week. But Noah Whittington led the backfield in carries. But De'Ara Hill had 5 carries, and Jordan Davison, who is a short yardage maestro, had 3 touchdowns and 6 carries. And Jayden Lamar had 3 carries and a touchdown. Dink Riggs had 4 carries. And Dakorien Moore carried the ball twice on fly sweeps. And Kenyon Sadiq carried it once. And Mekhi Hughes carried it once. And Jay Harris carried it once and also had a big reception. Maybe Mekhi Hughes is not as good as we all expected him to be. I mean, certainly the outside folks that cover Oregon presume Mekhi Hughes would be the starter. This is not a guy. He goes for over 2,700 yards at Tulane. He would have been the number 1 back on a team that, based on how they played against Northwestern today, is going to have a real shot to make the college football playoff this year. So if he wound up transferring to Oregon to be the number 4 or 5 guy on the depth chart, boy, that would speak volumes about the running back room. There's no bad outcome here. There is a surprised outcome for me, because I thought he'd be Oregon's number 1 guy. Just generally speaking, you don't go and get a guy who is that high a profile at his position and is one of the top players at his position to move in the transfer portal if you don't plan on playing him. But let's also get something straight. If he's not going to be the starting running back, it's early in the year. I think they're messing around with rotations a lot. If he's not the starting running back, what does that say about this running back room? That it's insanely talented, which it looks like it is? I mean, you think about it. I have wondered for the last 2 years why what Jay Harris is missing to see the field. He goes out and has a 50-yard reception today and then has 1 carry for 2 yards. But is that the number 4 running back out there? If Whittington's the number 1 guy, I'm not upset. Like, if they think Whittington's better, I trust the staff. Of course I do. Am I surprised? Yeah, I am. Because I had not heard a peep coming out of fall camp that Mekhi Hughes wasn't going to necessarily be the guy. Maybe somebody else had more information than me. That's possible. It's happened before. There had been nothing public that had been sent out. I hadn't heard from any of my sources that Mekhi Hughes was falling down number 5 on the depth chart. We'll see. We'll see. That was the most surprising one, though. But generally speaking, I think whether you're talking about the defensive backfield, whether you're talking about the actual backfield, the receiver room, Cooper Perry caught a ball in this game, and Jordan Davis, and the true freshman, ran for 3 touchdowns. And Jaden Lamar had the first touchdown of the year for the Ducks. Please tell me, bring the receipts if you had any of those on your bingo card. Cooper Perry getting a reception isn't crazy. Cooper Perry caught the ball from Dante Moore. I didn't see that one. I think there was a concerted effort by the staff. Not a bad thing. This is the fun part. Like, as you can probably see on YouTube, I'm having so much fun with this because I've been talking about what these depth charts could look like, and I'm very right in some areas, and based on today, I'm very wrong in other areas, and I don't actually care that I'm right or wrong. It's just great to be able to know and have some freaking football back. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It is the absolute best. But you look at the number of guys. Look, think about this. Oregon, over the last couple of years, has really had 3 or 4 receivers, actual receivers, not tight ends or running backs, that are involved in the offense. 2023, I think you had Gary Bryant and Trayshawn Holden around 400 yards. Troy Franklin and Tez were both over 1,000 for wide receivers. Today, Malik Benson had 5 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown. He looked good. Kyler Casper had a 40-yard reception. Dante Moore tried to find him another time, but didn't give him an accurate ball. But he caught a long ball from Austin Novosad. No surprise there. Gary Bryant had 4 catches and a touchdown. Dakorien Moore had 3 catches. Jeremiah McLaughlin had a catch. Justice Lowe and Cooper Perry. That's 7 different receivers caught passes today. I wonder if the staff didn't go into this game saying, hey, let's not let our next opponent know who the top guys are going to be. You know who we didn't hear a lot from in this game? I actually don't even know if he registered. He did. He got into the game, had a pass deflection. Aiden Breland. Aiden Breland didn't play a ton. Tioni Gray was one of the surprising names at the top of the 2 deep when this game kicked off. Tioni Gray, defensive tackle. He was starting in place of where I thought Bear Alexander would be. The other 3 guys were who I thought they'd be. Amari Washington, Tatum Tuioti, Mateo Uyungule. But did you see the rate at which they were rotating the defensive linemen from the moment the game started? Did you notice how often we saw young linebackers like Kamar Mathudi on the field? Did you notice the safety rotation? I did. I saw a lot of it all over the place. Sometimes it was Jaden Kennedy at nickel, and sometimes it was Dalen Austin. How about Brandon Finney, though? His name kind of popped up late in fall camp that he was doing really well. Boy, true freshman, 5-star coming in. Man, that's a dude. Naeem Offord could be 3rd in the corner rotation. I think that the depth of talent is just nuts. It is absolutely nuts. Drilla Florence didn't record a stat. I don't know if he recorded any snaps in the game specifically, but you know, they just looked so good and so deep, and they were playing so many different guys. I don't think it's going to be like that throughout the course of the year, which is why this game was so much fun to see all those different guys get an opportunity to play, make some plays. But there were some real surprises. Aaron Flowers started over Kingston Lopa. I think Lopa probably wound up out-snapping Aaron Flowers, but maybe they're going to rotate him in and out. I don't know. Maybe they want to leave Oklahoma State in a state of we don't know who we're supposed to prepare for, what guys they put on field, because they had all these different guys. Maybe it's that sort of tactic. I'd suspect as the year goes on, the rotations tighten up at least a little bit. But the Mekhi Hughes thing was definitely surprising, but it's not bad news. If one of the most highly coveted running backs in the portal, he's coming from a Group 5 league, maybe he's not ready for Big Ten football at this point in time. Maybe he needs a year to adjust to it, get his body right, or I don't know. I'm sure the staff has their reasons, but at any point in time, did you feel like there wasn't a playmaker on the field at running back? I never felt that way. So, yeah, pretty awesome stuff with that. All right, fine. Oh, okay, no, I'll save this. I'll tell you my favorite play, and I will tell you what was so encouraging about Dante Moore. First, this episode brought to you by Upside. Locked On Ducks fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. I've put in my limited time promo code football to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. I've done that, and I'm starting to get it back. The money, that is. And you can too. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, thought it was too good to be true. Totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code FOOTBALL for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code FOOTBALL. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Check out the Upside app and start saving today. All right, before I get to Dante Moore, really quick, my favorite play by far of the whole game was Gary Bryant's touchdown. He is getting a block on the perimeter from the 5-star number 1 receiver, Dakorien Moore, who is Michael Orr style blocking this guy into the parking lot. He drives him, I think, a solid 12 yards down the field before pancaking him onto his rear. It was awesome. I didn't even watch Gary go into the end zone. I just watched Dakorien put this guy on his backside. It was great. That was my favorite play of the game. It wasn't close. Even more than Amari Washington, as Zach Neal correctly put it on Twitter, was living in Montana State's backfield. That was my favorite play of the game, Dakorien Moore. Okay, let's talk about Dante Moore. Because the Moore-to-Moore connection, I think Dakorien said after the game, or Dante, one of them, that they like that kind of moniker, the Moore-to-Moore. And yeah, we could see plenty of that this year. This wasn't a huge game for Dakorien Moore. I didn't expect he'd go off for, 100 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever. It's his first college game, and also the ball was getting really spread around, which is what I suspected coming into the year. We'll see if that tightens up. I suspect it will. You're not going to have receptions to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different guys in every game, but could that number easily be 6 or 7 every game? Yeah, I definitely think it could be 6 or 7 per game. So Dakorien Moore, who they gave the ball to in a couple of fly sweeps, definitely is getting used to a college level of football, but dude looks like he belongs, which is just what we expected. And he'll have bigger games. Dakorien will, but Dante, 18 to 23, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9.3 yards per attempt, QBR 75. My everydayers out there. Do you remember what I said earlier this week about what I wanted to see most from Dante Moore? What I most was looking forward to? Or not looking forward to. The swing thought, quote unquote, I wanted him to have? Simplify. Don't force nothing. Don't do anything stupid. Trust that you're a way better team than them. That's exactly what we got. This was a phenomenal start to the Dante Moore era. Bigger tests lie ahead. No doubt. No doubt about it. This is a great start. It's a really, really good start. Now, Dante Moore against lower level competition at UCLA also looked very good. He's still got more to prove. He hasn't changed my opinion or I guess the perception a little, but he hasn't overall changed my opinion yet. To do that, he'd have to go to Penn State, go for 300 plus and 2 touchdowns, lead the offense on a game-winning drive, and do something like that before I'd go, oh, this guy's Heisman this year. So let's, if you're jumping to that conclusion, I don't think Oregon fans are going to. Not too many of you are that reactionary, but a handful. And you know what? It's fun. It's football. College sports are fun. I'm here for it. But if you're looking at what Dante Moore did in this game, it was all good. He executed the offense. He made the right reads. He didn't force the ball. One of my favorite plays is when Oregon wound up kicking a field goal. Because Dante Moore just said, yeah, you know what? All right, we didn't do it here. Get 3 points. Nothing wrong with that. Atticus Sappington, good kick. Good kick, dude. Always like seeing the special teams execute. And what a day for the special teams, by the way. Shout out Joe Lorig. Blocked a punt, made a field goal, did not have to punt all day, so we don't know if Ferguson Reynolds, the Boise State transfer that came in the spring window, if he's legit. I mean, he has been in his career, but thankfully Oregon didn't need him today, which goes back to my original take on the game. That couldn't have gone any better because that was great, and it was really fun. And you know what? It was fun to enjoy. And after, almost 8 months talking about this team in the offseason, and all the different moves that they made and how things could play out and all this and reacting to the Evan Stewart injury. It's crazy. No Evan Stewart, no Jurion Dickey, and yet I felt like the wide receiver room had as much talent as we've ever seen, especially when you factor in Kenyon Sadiq. Mekhi Hughes maybe isn't the guy. We'll see. There's still a lot of season left to be played, but if he isn't the guy, do I feel like we have guys in there? Yeah, a lot of different guys. Noah Whittington's a dude. By the way, this is the University of Oregon where we go under center a lot now. I mean, I'm here for it. It's not like Oregon hasn't gone under center at all the last couple of years under Will Stein. I remember when Lanning first got here and Dillingham first rolled out the jumbo package and Oregon was under center. It was bizarre. I don't think I had seen Oregon. There was a stat like they hadn't taken an under center snap in a very long time. It was just not something Oregon ever did because you had Chip and Helfrich that weren't going to do it, and then Taggart and Cristobal didn't because Cristobal loved the pistol a lot, of course, and so they weren't going under. I can't visualize a snap in which Justin Herbert was under center. I think even in victory formation they went out of shotgun. So it's just a funny thing to see. I'm still kind of getting used to that, but everything I wanted Dante Moore to do in this game, he did. He simplified. He took what was there. He didn't force the ball down the field. He made the right reads. He looked comfortable. He ran more than I thought for 2 reasons. Like, I know he's got athleticism, and he talked about his speed in the offseason, 21.5 miles per hour. That's no joke. No joke. It's not how I think he's wired as a quarterback. He's not Jeremiah Masoli. He's not Marcus Mariota or Anthony Brown is the other running quarterback name I was looking for. He's not. I don't think he's ever going to run like that. But he showed you, you can call a quarterback run when you need to. Situationally, you can go to that, and I think they will. But man, the ball coming out of his hand. Jake Butt was talking about it on the broadcast. It looks so easy, and then it's just this beautiful tight spiral that allows him to make every throw on the field. And the way that the speed with which he gets the ball outside the hash marks from the time the ball is snapped to him is so good. It is so elite, and I love Dylan Gabriel. He was awesome last year. I will never forget watching the Ohio State game. Dude is an absolute gamer. Dante Moore can be better than Dylan Gabriel. Bo Nix, we'll see. Jake Butt thinks he has a better arm than Bo Nix does. Might be true because Dante's arm is ridiculously special. But he simplified. He took what was there, showed a little bit of mobility, made the right reads. He looked comfortable. He looked like he was processing things so well. Like that year of sitting behind Dylan to learn the offense really paid off. Now, the defenses he's going to face the rest of the year, much faster, much better, much more experience, a lot of things that are going to be tougher. But this was a good first step for Dante. This was a great first game for the entire team. So the coaching staff certainly didn't want a repeat of last year. Can't wait for Ducks versus them. Let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, all that good stuff. If enough questions get sent my way, you might get 2 episodes in a day next week. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But you know what? For today, Oregon's 1-0. Their next 3 opponents didn't look great, but hey, one at a time. Oklahoma State is next. Let's focus on the Cowboys now, but we'll talk more about this one on Monday's show. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.